What's going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is Phoenix Down 116.2, and we are continuing our playthrough of Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Today I have with me Matt.
Hello.
And yeah, so we didn't take a week off last week.
Correct.
Yes, it was 2 weeks ago we took a week off. This one was grind. Like, it was time for me to grind, right?
Yeah.
I needed to make sure that I made it to where I needed to, which I did about an hour and a half ago. So, we were going to do 3 chapters. But yeah, last we left off with Kiryu still in Hiroshima. And he gets information saying that we believe that the father of Haruka's son is in Kamurocho as a host. Ex-Yakuza member for the Hiroshima Yakuza, who went to make his big break, I guess, would be the best way to say it. At least that's what he told everybody, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out for him. Haha. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work out for him too well.
Not great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the next thing we do. We go back to Kamurocho. Before doing so, we do decide to leave Haruto, excuse me, with how you pronounce her name?
Is it Kiyomi?
Kiyomi. I was going to say Kiyomi. Obviously, we don't need to have him back in there. Technically, we have kidnapped that child, so we don't really need to bring him back. You know, just to keep a low profile. But yeah, so we're gonna go. But we're not gonna go alone. We're gonna have a couple of our Anakis coming with us.
Yep. Is he building a clan? He certainly got groupies this time.
He's got those guys, but on top of that, though, he also has that going against justice. Which, to be honest with you, I've kind of ignored this part.
Yeah, I have so far.
Unfortunately, I wanted to do some more of it. I really did, and I do plan on doing that. But we'll see.
How do you actually activate the clan battle stuff? Is that only in what's the name of the town? Onamichi?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I think you can do it in the main town because I ran into the guys in Kamurocho a little bit later on.
Okay. Yeah, I think I ran into them, but I don't remember seeing an option or like if you want to do clan battles, here's how you go about doing it.
I think you have to go back to the restaurant where they set up the base. So they've got a restaurant.
The one in Onamichi, right? With the bald guy running it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And they set up another restaurant base of operations in Millennium Tower, I think. Is it in Millennium Tower? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think you go there to start that stuff.
Yeah.
I have not touched it, so I don't know. So don't hold me to that, unfortunately.
It's funny, Millennium Tower just sitting there, and it was such a huge part of some of the earlier games, right? I feel like you were in Millennium Tower every 5 minutes.
You were at Millennium Tower, or you were having a showdown on the roof.
Yeah, or you're in the park.
or you're in the park. That's right. So yeah, we go back to Kamurocho, but like I said, we're not alone. Nagamo and one of his other guys, Yuta, is coming along. He's kind of like the younger guy. I would say younger guy because the rest of them all look like they're really old.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both come along because they're like, hey, we both knew Tatsuraka. I can't pronounce it. Tatsukawa. Is that what it is? Tatsukawa?
So.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to know him for long.
That guy.
That guy. Yeah.
Haruto's supposed father.
Yeah, Haruto's supposed father. They were both like, well, I knew him. And Yuta was like, I grew up with the guy. So I know this guy. And like, if he really is this way, I'm going to beat the crap out of him. You know, everybody wants to beat the crap out of him. So, all right, well, we know. We know he's a host. Okay, well, I know a few hosts in this town. All the way back from Yakuza 1, we got the two Korean guys that run Stardust. So we decide to head over to Stardust. Nope. The bouncer is not letting us in. Okay, whoa. Where's my guys? Where's what the hell are their names? Can you remember their names?
The two from Stardust?
Yeah, the two guys from Stardust.
Oh, shit.
Golly. What is his name? I can't think of it. Yeah, anyway. I know the guys.
Yeah, I can picture him, which is funny when you first see him.
Yeah. Yuya is his name. He was kind of like the main host, like the manager, while the owner, I can't remember what that guy's name is. You can forget it. But neither of them are working at Stardust anymore. Okay, what happened? Well, after we get thrown out of Stardust, a guy approaches us, and it is Yuya. He's like, "Hey, we don't work there anymore." He's like, "What happened?" And we go and eat with him, and he kind of introduces himself to the other guys and stuff like that. And he's like, "Yeah, we got it kind of into dire straits when you were in prison. A lot of things went down at Kamurocho, particularly when it came to the different clans and factions that were moving in. And pretty sure the Korean mafia came in, and they're the ones who bought us out. It was apparently like a firm, like a business firm, but they kind of found out it was actually the Korean mafia, which we all know who that is. That's the Jingwang mafia.
Yep, all the way back from
2?
Yakuza 2.
Was it Yakuza 2?
Yep.
I can't remember.
Yep.
The Jingwang mafia. And there is the guy who runs the Jingwang mafia, or the guy who's a big person in the Jingwang mafia. He's the owner of Stardust. Well, he actually shows himself to us, and the bouncer that threw us out, he shoves his face into like the grill, because you're at this restaurant where you cook the meat on the table right there.
Yeah, and they're just kind of regrouping after they couldn't get in.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you guys can come. I definitely want to meet Kiryu Kazuma, the fourth chairman of the Chojo clan. I absolutely want to meet you. And I'm so sorry for the disrespect. Here's my bouncer. I'm going to burn him. And he burns him into the table.
Yeah, that is intense.
Yeah. And everybody freaks out with the exception of Kiryu. He still just sits there and stares at him. That's how you know he's a badass.
Yep. Doesn't faze him, and I imagine he's just like working through like, who is this guy? What is he for real?
Yeah.
What is he capable of? I'm sure I'm going to fight him at some point. I'm sure that's what he's thinking.
Yep. So yeah, but he invites us, so we decide to go back to Stardust. Trying to imagine. Don't we get attacked by some guys? I think we get attacked by some mafia guys.
Yeah, and they make some comments that like not everybody in the mafia is happy to see you. We know what you've done, and just because is it Jungi?
Is that how you? I don't know.
Jungai?
Jungai Han?
Yeah. just because he's extending you an invitation doesn't mean everyone else is going to.
Yeah. So we get attacked, but we do have a fight here, but I think what ends up happening is they're just like, go on to Stardust. We'll handle these guys kind of thing.
Yeah, halfway through.
Yeah. Nagamo and Yuta stay behind. But yeah, we go to Stardust. We meet with Jungi, and he gives us this whole big spiel of how they came in and they're turning the host business into something even more spectacular as you're going through his like almost like sex dungeon.
Yeah, because there was one comment that the original bouncer made that like no guys allowed or something like that.
Yeah,
which was a little strange because that's all that's ever been to these clubs, really. And then as you go in the back, you see it just kind of switch things around a little bit.
Yeah. It's now like a Chippendales kind of thing.
Yeah, and a lot more intense than just conversations.
Yeah. And so we're like, okay, well, I want you to tell me, did this guy work for you? And we have a picture of him. And he's like, yeah, he used to work here. He worked here. Okay, where's he at now? Well, I'm not going to tell you. But I will tell you if you fight me. Let's put on a big show. And he brings down this big cage. There's like a ring. Everybody's watching us fight.
Yeah. Not for the first time in this series.
No. This guy was a chump.
Yeah.
This guy was nothing. I wiped the floor with this dude. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good back and forth, I thought, where Kiryu like turns his back on him and says, I'm not going to play your game. I'm not doing this. And then Yuta basically says, no, we need this information. I'll stand in your place and fight him. And gets the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Forgot about that.
And then was it, Jungai was maybe going to kill him? I don't know. He was going to deliver some kind of final blow before Kiryu steps in and says, no, I'll fight you.
Yeah. That's right.
I feel like information really is worth a lot in these games, right? Everybody needs something badly, and without the information broker... We don't have the information broker in this game, I don't think. At least not yet.
So far, we have not met with the florist.
But there are a lot of other people in this game who seem to just know everything.
Yeah.
So maybe he's there behind the scenes.
I'm sure we will run into the florist before this game is over with.
Yeah, he's a pretty big recurring character.
Yeah. But yeah, after beating him, he sticks true to his word. He tells us that, I know where he's at.
I did think he was definitely going to double cross them the way he kept wanting to shake, and there was so much, I don't want to say nervousness because Kiryu doesn't get nervous, but there was an expectation that he was going to grab him and sucker punch him or something.
Right.
Both him and Yuta.
But no, he stuck with it. But you could tell whenever we left, he was visibly upset.
Yeah.
He was grasping that glass of what looks like whiskey.
Yeah.
Almost like he was about to shatter it.
Yeah. Did the screen turn black? And he did. You hear the sound of it?
Do you hear it shatter?
Yeah,
I can't remember. So. But he told us that he'd been in Little Asia a lot recently, and he believed that he had become an informant for the triads. Oh boy, now we're getting involved with the triads again. But so we decided to go check out the apartment complex where he lived. And when we get there, we do find him along with a woman. Unfortunately, they are both dead. Seem to be slashed to death with a knife of some sort.
Yeah, as interesting atmosphere in there too, given how like saturated and brightly colored everything else in this game is. This felt almost like maybe I don't know. Did they actually walk in? It felt very visual novel-esque to me.
It did feel like that, right?
Because immediately it's like dark. The windows are covered, so I feel like it was like a big reveal of a death scene. And then
Kiryu definitely walked in.
Yeah, Kiryu definitely walked in, but was it? I think it was fully animated. It's not like it was just panels or something. It was a normal scene, but it was so different from most of what we see in the series. That's like bright and funny and colorful. I mean, these weren't just dead. I mean, we see dead people all the time.
Sure.
These were people that were like, there were flies buzzing around them. They were
they've been dead for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're dead. Everybody's really shocked about that. So we're kind of okay. Well, we found him, but that leads us nowhere. Great. So the only lead we really have is the fact that we know that he had been to Little Asia recently, and his original employer believed that he was probably working for the Triads. Well, sounds like we need to get an audience with the Triads. The only person we know that has any type of involvement with the Triads is, well, Akiyama. And, well, Akiyama has made himself scarce, to say the least.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a good support network, because every time he runs into trouble, he goes deep into hiding.
Yeah. But, yeah, so we decided to try to find Akiyama.
Is he still rich? Like, super rich?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I think he's deliberately kind of led people to believe that he has no money to his name.
Yeah, because he had his two businesses. I assume he hadn't loaned out all of his money before he kind of scrapped it.
Yeah.
So he's in hiding. He must still have money, which helps,
I would assume.
Which helps him kind of disappear.
Sure. But yeah, we go down to the sewers where he'd been camping, and there's some triads there. We beat those guys up, and another hobo comes out. It's actually one of our old informant guys, and he's like, "Yeah, I know where Akiyama is. It might take a little time to get him, but I'll have him call you." Okay, cool. So we get this whole, like, kill some time. There's a couple of things I did do here.
Did you go back to the gym?
I went back to the gym.
Ah, nice.
Yep. I got some gains. I also did 2 sub-stories, both of which felt the exact same. Kiryu apparently gets scammed a lot.
Well, he's not the brightest guy.
This is true. But you have the option to not get scammed. Have you done any of these sub stories where you're getting scams?
I think I did one.
Okay. So one of them, the guy pretends to be Date. He gets emails from Date saying they want him to go buy a bunch of gift cards. And so I go to buy the gift cards. So you can choose to be like, hey, this is a scam, or you can choose to be like skeptical, right?
Yeah.
But so if you choose to be skeptical, you still go and get the gift cards, so you still spend money. I guess I can sell the gift cards because when I say, hey, I don't want to give you the numbers over the phone, why don't you meet me and I'll just give you the cards? Then I beat up the guys that show up because they're obviously not Date. But there was also another one where he got scammed, where he gets a phone call and he answers it and he's like, hello? And he's like, hey, it's me. And you have the option of choosing who to answer it to. Oh, it's Haruka. Oh, it's Daigo. Oh, it's this other guy. And
yeah, that's the one I did.
Yeah. And I was like, well, obviously it's not Haruka because she's in a coma. It's obviously not Daigo because he's in prison or in jail.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm like, it must be the other guy.
Yeah, it must be the other guy. So I chose that, but then I saw through his crap, went and beat those guys up. So I did those 2 sub-stories. I'm trying to imagine if I did any others. I started the sub-story with the cats.
Oh, were you trying to track them all down?
Yeah, no, I was like, yeah, I'm never going to do this.
Yeah, I started it and I said I might do this, but it's not now.
Did you find the baseball one yet?
No.
So I went to the batting cages, but didn't. There's nothing there, so I'm assuming I may have to be in Hiroshima to start the baseball thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I want to start that, and I want to do the clan creator stuff in this next session.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we have to kill some time. Akiyama does finally call us back. We meet up with him and tell him what's going down. I need to get an audience with that guy that we beat up at one time. Ed. Okay. Well, I know how to get you there. We'll have to go to Little Asia, which could be a death sentence for everybody here. But there may be a way to sneak in. Okay, let's do it. So that's what we decide to do. And we also wear masks again. Really like wearing those masks. And then we also really like just taking them off.
Yep, they don't serve a lot of purpose here.
They really don't. They really don't. But yeah, so we do this whole... Were you able to make it through this entire section without being spotted?
Yeah, I think so.
So you never had to fight anybody?
I don't believe so.
Ho, ho, ho. I got spotted by the chef. That dude, I had to fight him 3 times.
I think I fought him once at the end. I think you have to fight him at the end.
Oh, no, I fought him 3 times. And that once at the end was the last time I fought him.
Oh.
Apparently I suck at this game.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that mini stealth where he's like, wait till I call you over. I almost just ran after him, but the way he like kind of sticks his hand up back to like tell you to stop, I was like, oh wow, there's a little bit of stealth going on here.
Yep. I did not
very
pay
light,
attention,
but definitely out of the norm.
Yep. Excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning like crazy. But yeah, so we do all that, and we finally make it to the top. And of course Ed's standing there, and he's like, "What's the meaning of this? I think you know exactly what's going on here." He's like, "Oh, I know that voice," and he just takes off his mask. Of course he does. He takes off his mask.
Yeah,
reveals himself. But yeah, gosh.
Fight with Ed's not too hard either.
I didn't think it was. It is a good little transition because we go to different locations and fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like when you're fighting on, I wanted to call it the chandelier, but it's just like the lattice work above the floor, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we beat him up. I did like the whole, Yuta and Nagumo show back up. Didn't forget about us, did you?
Yeah, I like how they join you. They actually do a little work.
Yeah.
I was surprised. They don't just keep some of the guys occupied, but they actually, fight them and take some of their life bar down.
Yep. No, they actually help.
I do generally also just kind of like their welcome to the big city, like their fish out of water.
Yeah, that's happened a few times.
Yeah, right at the beginning especially, when he's like, oh, I disappeared and I had to go check out some of the women in the area. And I like how that gets referenced later on as, they know exactly what he did.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. So, trying to imagine what all was revealed here. I know that Ed said that he was the one that killed Tatsukawa.
Tatsukawa?
Yeah,
But he won't tell you
like,
why.
Yeah, he won't tell you why. He keeps referring to him as a traitor. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm looking at the fact, but it's not giving me any answers here. Is he the one that tells us about like how Daigo's been set up?
No, I thought he was put in his place, and then at the end of this, someone else comes in. There's like, "Be quiet, the boss is here."
Oh yeah, it's Is
that when we first see Lo?
Yeah. So, but the guy who comes in to help Ed out is the dude in the purple suit. What is that guy's name? He works for the Yomi Alliance. He's one of the captains.
Yeah.
What is that guy's name? We've beat him up like 3 times. He's the dude who, when you fight him, he makes his guys come back to life.
Is it? It's not Masuzawa. Yeah.
Masuzawa?
Masuzawa.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Masuzawa.
And he was like the head in Hiroshima, right? Or at least he's who the Hirose family reported into.
Answers to. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the captain. He was like one of the patriarchs he was like a family patriarch.
Yeah. Like a mid to high level one, right? Not the bottom ones like the Hirose.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, he's apparently working with the triads. And Ed explains to us that he along with some other triads are the guys who. So in China, the government has a rule apparently where all families can only have one child because of population control. And if you have more, it's called something. It's the name of the chapter.
Yep, I wanted to call it Heihachi, but it's like Heihazi.
Heihazi?
They pronounced it differently in the game, though.
Yeah. And basically, if a family has more than one child, the extra children are basically non-existent to the government's eyes, which means they don't get any benefits, they don't get any other education, they don't get anything. So a lot of times what a family will do is basically, in order to make sure that child gets a proper life, they allow the triads to take the child and relocate them to a different country, sometimes Japan. Let them live out a life pretending to be a Japanese person, but of course, like any good mob, they always come to collect eventually. And both I'm having a brain fart here. Mazuwe?
Yeah,
Masuzawa. And the guy that's dead, Tatsukawa. There's so many friggin' names, it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, there are a lot.
Tatsukawa were both those type of people. And, they're basically indebted to the mafia and have to, do things for them. And that's when we're introduced to the leader of the triads, which when it's introduced, it says it's Lo, but when they do the pause and it turns to black and white, it says Big Lo.
Big Lo. But in
Lo.
Big Trouble Little China, I definitely wanted to call him Lopan.
Lopan, that's right. Is he a wizard?
Yeah, he might be.
He might be, yeah. So he's the big boss of the Sio.
Sio, yeah.
Sio triads. But Lo is basically very calm about it. They got a bunch of people with guns on them, aiming at everybody, and he says something to Matsuo, who in Chinese, and he tells Kiryu, "I will tell you everything that you want to know, but you have to meet me, and you have to meet me alone." And he's like, "Okay, we'll do it." When we reconvene... Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, he's quite the mystery at the moment.
Yes.
You know, he's pretty calm here. Even when we meet him later, he doesn't reveal all that much about, at least about himself and about his weaknesses, if he has any.
Right.
He's very much just a mysterious figurehead at the moment.
He also does not want to reveal anything about his plans or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, when we reconvene back at the bar,
At New Serena, as we do.
Mm-hmm. Yuta tells us something, which we knew in a previous chapter. Yuta knows Chinese, at least enough to get by, is what he said. He's like, I know what the guy said when they were speaking Chinese. Basically, he said they don't know what's going on in Hiroshima. It can never be revealed what's happening there.
Yeah, or the secret that exists there can never be revealed, something like that.
Exactly. So, okay. More to it than meets the eye, I guess. After that, the next chapter, it's actually a pretty quick chapter. It's basically just, like I told you, running a gauntlet, then a boss fight.
Yep. Starts, or I guess the last one ends, and this one starts with a request to go visit Lo.
Mm-hmm.
Which, one of the things I like about this kind of point in the game is I literally don't know who is remotely trustworthy.
Right.
And I think some of these characters, they're doing a really good job of kind of intentionally walking that line. I mean, in some ways, I feel like this whole series has in some ways burned that bridge so many times that I just automatically don't trust anyone.
Yep.
Because I feel like everybody has a good percentage chance of being a double crosser.
Right.
But that's where I think it's interesting, you know, when Kiryu's in these situations where he needs this information so badly, even he might not trust them, but he still has to work with them.
Right.
And that sets up these uneasy alliances where it's no longer a big reveal that the person you work with might betray you, because you kind of know they might betray you. And it's just a matter of how close do you let them and how much do you give them. And in some ways, in my mind, how much of the Japanese honor system, like if he provides favors, does he at least feel covered for the return of those favors? Would he bank on that kind of Japanese tradition of honor and no further, or not even that? Because I feel like he's never going to go to the other extreme and just trust these people.
Yeah, definitely not.
So it's an interesting way that they're mixing a lot of different characters together, and the bad guys are not necessarily the good guys now, but they're partners of sorts.
Right.
And I find that to be an interesting dance. And every one of these conversations, I feel like, has the tinge that they could go sideways.
I feel like So I noticed something, and I could be wrong. They all had their guns trained on everybody. All the good guys, quote, good guys. For some reason, Lo looked at Yuta funny and then said, everybody put your guns down.
Mm.
I get the feeling Lo knows Yuta. I get the feeling Yuta will turn out to be a double crosser.
Well, he also knows another key piece of information at the end of this chapter. Do you think Yuta's responsible?
I don't know. I mean, he knows Chinese. I think he's definitely one of those extra children that were relocated. Because he keeps saying, I was friends with the dead guy since I was a kid. Which makes me think they knew each other while they were still in China.
Mm. So he was just acting all when his surprise, you think, was all a front?
Possibly. Or maybe he didn't know that he was dead, and now maybe he was a bad guy. Maybe he was an informant. But after seeing his friend dead, oh, now I'm out for blood. Screw these guys. That could be also it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But anyway,
interesting.
Regardless, you've already hinted at it, but we can talk about it. While we're all talking about this in the new Serena, guess who walks in? Good old the Tojo clan himself, Somiya. He shows up and he's like, "So, I hear you're gonna meet with the head of the Triads." And Kiryu's like, "What's it to you?" "I want to meet with him." Why would I take you? What I can say is, I think that if me and you worked together, we could all get what we wanted. You could get all the information you want about Haruka and her son and the father and all that stuff. And I can end this pesky war that my clan has been going through. And Kiryu is like, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I think he epitomizes Somaya epitomizes that uneasy alliance, I think, more than anyone in this game. But I feel like it extends to a lot of characters.
Yeah. And the one thing I did like was the cutscene where he's actually whining and dining a lot of the Tojo clan guys.
Yeah.
The new top brass.
Yeah.
And they're all talking crap about Kiryu, saying like, "Oh, the fourth chairman was just an old fart."
Yeah,
he's old. Don't
old let his relic. Legacy matter.
Yeah, he doesn't live up to his legacy anymore. It's all over with. And Somiya beats the living shit out of a guy.
Yeah, almost kills him.
Almost kills him. Smashes a freaking wine bottle over his head. Freaks everybody out, and he just walks away. And I was thinking when I saw that, I was like, this is also the guy who was challenging and even insulting Kiryu on how old school he is. But now, when somebody else says it, he takes major offense to it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, is he changing his ways? Is he?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about this game so far is just the motivations. I mean, as long as they kind of make sense in the end, they're not they don't feel quite as cartoony of like, oh, I'm going to take over everything. I feel like there are some good question marks around motivations and rationale. Like Lo, for example, we've met Lo. He has his information and he has a desire to understand us, is what he says in this chapter. He wants to understand our character. And so it's a little bit less about like, I'm here to bash you, I'm here to kill you. Kind of like Ed didn't have much depth to him, but some of these other characters and their motivations, I'm eager to figure a little bit more out.
Yeah, definitely. I think they bring it up here while he is he's still trying to figure out what's, Somia's plan. What's his angle? And he's like, okay, I've heard rumors. I want to hear it from you. A lot of people are saying that you conspired to bring in the mafia. To bring in I need to stop saying mafia because the Jingguan mafia is also in this. You conspired to bring the triads in. Basically, you and a few of your little lackeys started all those arson fires in Little Asia, which then weakened it. Then the triads came in, and you did all that to make it look like the Tojo clan had did it. So that way you could get Daigo, and you could get all the other top brass arrested, thrown in jail, and now you're the top guy. And he's like,
have you heard that rumor?
Yeah, he's like, you heard that rumor? I sure have. I was going to ask you about it. Well, why would I do that when I could easily just take over? Kind of paints a big target on my back, doesn't it? That's a little ridiculous. Okay, fine. So we're going to go to Shangri-La. That's where we're going to go meet with Lo. Obviously, we're being watched because they're like, okay, well, they know that you're with me. I was supposed to come alone, but I don't think they're going to kill me because I feel like they need me for some reason. And welcome to the gauntlet. And let me tell you something. This is a weird gauntlet.
It is a weird gauntlet.
It's full of what I guess is drug addicts because they don't really get up fast.
Yep.
They're just slowly getting up, and they only take like 2 hits to beat.
Yep. And
but then
S&M.
There's
sex monsters. I don't know what you'd call them, what they are.
So I've always known them as Gimps from Pulp Fiction. But he's also wearing a luchador mask. And he also pretends to be like a wrestler. So is it like a luchador?
Yeah, maybe. I thought he had like a ball gag in his mouth.
Is that what that is? I thought he was just making a funny face. I can't tell. Either way, this dude, we fight him twice. He keeps showing up. We're walking across beams, like I-beams, and he's throwing concrete blocks at us, trying to knock us down. I made it past all of that, and then I had to fight him anyway because a stupid friggin' Somiya is with me, and he gets caught by the guy.
Yeah.
I was like,
how did he leap up that high, though?
That's a good question. Why didn't he just,
He could have leapt up there at the beginning. And just gotten in our way.
Exactly. I don't know.
The other random thing that maybe I had seen this before and forgotten it, but I thought it was funny that Kiryu gets in a couple of fights and he does his patented pull your suit off from the shoulder maneuver.
Yep.
And for some reason, the only thing I could think of when he did that is, how did he get his watch off? Because he's wearing a watch with the suit, and he's definitely not wearing a watch when he goes shirtless.
Have you ever seen David Blaine pretend to do a card trick, but he's actually stealing a person's watch? Maybe it's like that.
Yeah, that is one quick maneuver.
There you go. I don't know. This game's ridiculous. There's a dude in a gimp suit walking around throwing concrete blocks at us. It's almost like a beast. He's like some kind of beast.
Yeah, so it just, it really makes me wonder what was actually going on in Shangri-La.
I don't know. Oh, no, it's weird. And, of course, they bring up, this is like the third time they brought up, hey, remember that time You know, Majima drove a dump truck through this place. Yeah, that's because of you.
Yeah, callbacks. A few good callbacks.
But yeah, we make it up to the top. Lowe's there. And Somiya's like, I got him where I need him. So here's the thing. He pulls out a gun on him. I won't kill him because I know you need your information. But I will only not kill him as long as you and I join forces. The 4th chairman and the soon-to-be 7th chairman can come together. We'll take down these little Asian guys. And we'll take it back over. Tojo Clan's on top again. What do you say? And Kiryu's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I need him.
I need
answers.
And then Lo starts coming in, and he's like, yeah, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you anyway. And he's like, of course, Kiryu's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, you remember, like, about 30 minutes ago when you were sitting at the bar talking to him and you asked him about the rumor and he said no? That's a lie. Pretty much that's basically what it was. No. He totally was the one that started those fires. He was the one who brought everybody in. He's the reason why Daigo got arrested. Also, he's the reason why he's now going to be the next chairman. He orchestrated the whole thing. And when Kiryu heard that, he's like, okay, fine. I'm killing you. I'm beating you up right now.
Yeah, but the weird thing was, Somiya calls that out as well. He says, we could fight, you could beat me up, and then through that process you could gain Lowe's approval. It wouldn't be the first time that you've done this to, form an alliance with your enemies. So I felt like there was a little bit more calculation going on here than I thought at first.
Yeah, possibly. It definitely seems like he is a strategist.
Yeah.
And I feel like he does this to... He basically sets the stage and sits back and says, all right, let's see how this plays out. And tries to influence occasionally. So yeah, we do have a boss fight. We have a boss fight with Somiya. And it is literally the exact same boss fight that we had with him previously. The only difference is he is wearing a suit and we're in a different room.
But Kiryu still had to rip his suit off.
Yeah, Kiryu ripped his suit off. And then Lowe's in the background watching us fight.
Yeah, it's another kind of minor difference, but I feel like the other games did so much with 7 different colored health bars.
Yeah.
This, I feel like everybody just has one.
Yeah, it's a one big one, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because you can still take half, a third of it off in one of those crazy combos.
Yeah. So the extreme heat is your best friend.
Yep.
And it will wreck dudes. It is so good, and I love it. There's also a heat move that I've learned. I don't know how I learned it. But it only works if a guy's in a corner. And it only works if you knock them down into a corner. And Kiryu basically just stomps them into the corner more. It's actually kind of funny. It's almost like they do a wall splash. Like a and then they fall over. And Kiryu just kicks them. It's actually pretty good.
But not dead, because Kiryu doesn't murder people.
No. Even though I totally just stabbed a dude with a sword. But yeah. So yeah. After beating him up, he basically just okay, you win. What will I do now? And Lo is like, just get out of here. And he's like, really? You're going to let... I came here to kill you. And you're going to let me live. And he's like, if I tried to kill everybody who wanted to kill me, I would never sleep.
Yeah, like when he says, more people have come against me than there are stars in the sky.
That's right. And Sonya's like, you are going to live to regret this. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I didn't totally get his logic when he said, you're more risky. Like, there's less risk of you attacking me if I let you walk away. Unless he meant that there would be retribution from the rest of the clan against him.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like, if I killed you, the only thing I would do is have the Tojo clan bearing down on me.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, the only person trying to kill me is you. So I would rather have just you trying to kill me than the entire clan trying to kill me.
One big B rather than the whole hive.
Exactly. And he said, besides, you're the one, I'm not even worried about you. The one that I want, the one that killed my son, he's with you guys, but not actually with you guys, as he said. And that was Iwami.
Yeah.
And Iwami is the guy who runs the shipping business. He's like the manager of the shipping business. His father is the head of the Yomi Alliance. We met them a few chapters back on the boat. Iwami was the one that killed his son. He's like, that's the guy that I want. And you can go and tell him that I spared you just so you could tell him I'm coming for him.
Yeah, and he says, I'll give my all to avenge my son's death, even my life.
Yep. So he leaves, and Kiryu's like, okay, I want you to tell me everything you can about Tatsukara. And Lowe's like, I don't think I really need to tell you anything.
Yeah, first, for a second, I thought he meant there's nothing to tell.
Right.
And this whole thing was like a red herring. But, he very clearly says, I'm not going to tell you unless you swear allegiance to me. Then I'll tell you. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yep, here we go. And we all know Kiryu. Kiryu's not going to swear allegiance to anybody. The only allegiance he has to is to his kids at Morning Glory.
Yep.
So, but he said, I will tell you this, though. Tazukara is not Haruto's father.
Yeah, you don't even need to be worried about him. He's not who you're looking for.
Yep, that is not. I guarantee it is not. Okay. You also don't know this. Haruto is actually way more important than what you think.
Yeah.
He has great value to this war that's going on. And as he's saying this, Kiryu then gets a phone call. And I can't remember who it was. It was somebody in... Was it somebody in Hiroshima?
Yeah, I guess it must have been. I thought in my mind it was Nagumo, but he's not in Hiroshima.
Yeah. No, it's Yuta. Yuta gets a phone call. And he's like, hey, I got a phone call from back home. They're saying something happened in Hiroshima. And he's like, what is it? Haruto's gone. And I think Hirose took him. And they're like, what? Like, your patriarch took the kid? And so Kiryu's like, I gotta get back. I gotta get back now.
Yeah, pack your bags. We're leaving immediately.
Yep. So.
It's a good question. Definitely feels like a nice episode cliffhanger.
Yeah. That's where we stop playing. I like what we've done so far. I know I mentioned it before we started recording, but this story feels like it's got a lot of players. But the good thing is that they're bringing in not only people that we already know, they're bringing in factions that we have met before the Jinwan Mafia, the Triads. We've dealt with all these people before. And it feels like they're trying to wrap everything back up.
Yeah, and I really like the balance of all these characters and references, which could get a little bit chaotic, wrapped around a story that is both relatively clear and personal.
Yes.
So it makes the core story be a really strong driver for what we're doing, and then you encounter a lot of crap along the way, but it doesn't get in the way of the story or distract from it. It's just kind of there supplementing it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, the main story doesn't falter. Who is this kid's father? Why is Haruka involved in all this? That's the main crux. The things on the side are just extra flavor.
Yeah, and I like how that simple story grows, right? Like Haruka's in a coma. Like, let's figure out what happened. Was it intentional? Was it not? Then you're like, all right, let's track down the father. He must know something. And, basically we're still doing that. So, it's, and now we get the information that, Haruka and Haruto are maybe, if not more involved in the war, they're more critical to the war. That is a nice way to just up the ante of what we're doing, but it doesn't throw us down a completely different path. We still need to do what we're trying to do, because we need to protect Haruka and Haruto. And so it's just a really clean way, I think, to keep raising the stakes and bringing people in and adding new mysteries and characters and reveals, but not changing kind of the fundamental core of what we're doing. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm enjoying this one. This one's it's just easier to understand, and it's not. I feel like everything about the past probably 3 Yakuzas was like a business transaction.
Yep.
Well, this is more of a personal story.
Yep.
And that's what I like about it. So,
but it's really interesting. I know we're not done with this, but just thinking about how much more I care about this personal story because of the time we spend in Okinawa. Right? Like, if that had never happened, I'm not sure that the things that we're doing in this game would matter all as much as they do.
Sure.
So, it's an interesting back and forth. I always feel that way in down portions of long stories. Like, I may not like it, but there are many ways that its value could be seen later, which would raise its value to the overall arc and narrative. So, I'm still liking it, and so far the game is making me think more positively on the older games, some of them.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same way. Do I still like Yakuza 5? No. I'm sorry, I don't. It was long and boring, and
Yep. If you just wanted a bit more Yakuza, it gives you that, but it doesn't add much. This definitely adds to the bond, the characters' bonds, as well as some back to some interesting side stories and Baseball and Clan Creator as good time wasters to get some money. Because that's one thing I've never done in any of the Yakuza games is really build up a lot of money.
I did in Yakuza 0. That was it.
Although I say that, I'm not really sure why I would need to build up a lot of money here. I mean, maybe there are some good items, I guess.
So that's the one thing we've never really done, and I have to. I think I don't know if I mentioned it on the previous show or not. There is a guy that I subscribe to, and I have to look up what his name is. He's on YouTube, and his name is Kaizen Gaiden. So Kaizen Gaiden. He does a lot of different video games, but he does specialize in Yakuza. And when I started looking up Yakuza for YouTube videos on how do I find this, this guy got suggested to me. This guy really explores the things that you can do in Yakuza.
maybe off the beaten path.
Some of the stuff that's in those games is wild. Like, I mean, he even gets it down to like playing Yakuza 5 and like knowing combos and knowing, parries and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this guy like can wipe the floor with people in the games that I thought played like garbage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's obviously an expert when it comes to a lot of the Yakuza games. And I like some of his stuff, but watching his stuff showing like you can get like lightsabers in this game. You can get lightsabers in the game. You can get like ridiculous weapons that just like wreck guys.
Do they last more than 2 hits like every other weapon in this game?
Yeah, so these are like legendary items that takes time to get, but yeah, no, he's really good. I got to give him a shout out. Yeah, no email. I know Dustin said he was going to write an email, but he said he lost track of time. Excuse me. He said he lost track of time. So, oh well.
Yeah, maybe next time. Be curious, what. There are a lot of open questions. I wonder if anyone who has played through this already knows all the answers or can raise a stimulating question. But I also wonder, a lot of the characters may or may not betray us, but someone like Kiyomi, why was she at that dinner as calmly as she was? Do you think that she's doing anything more? Do you think she was involved in Haruto's kidnapping? Well, second kidnapping?
It's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm not entirely sure.
And, if it's one of the things I'm, based on your comment of Yuta maybe knowing Lo, well, if Yuta was Haruto's father and Yuta ends up turning on everyone, like, Kiryu, I don't think would be two-faced because I feel like everybody betrays everybody in his world. But I'm just picturing Nagumo being devastated, right? Because he's kind of oblivious, and I feel like Yuta could very easily have resentment for the way Nagumo runs the family.
Sure.
Basically, he does. And I could imagine if he does double-cross him, Nagumo would be devastated because he just wouldn't see it coming. And so it would be, if in my mind, it's really weird if that happens because I kind of really like that trio of characters and their interactions with each other, and it would be weird to have such an emotional moment not involve Kiryu. Because I don't think he would care all that much or, be all that surprised. He's not really invested in Yuta's life, although if he ended up being Haruto's father, there certainly would be more at stake there.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think they'd give the glory to a character we met this game? Is Kiryu the Mad Max of the Yakuza series?
Yeah, good question. Do you think Hirose is as feeble as he comes off?
That's a good question, and I have a feeling.
Is it a bit of a game cover?
Yeah. I think it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe in the canon of Yakuza, these characters might not be the most important or the most interesting, but there's something about this game where, like, most of the characters I find really intriguing.
Sure. To
know what they're going to do and what their allegiance finally ends up as.
The bigger question is, they keep saying that Daigo is awaiting a jail sentence, right?
Yep.
I guess as well as Majima. Will we see those two in this game?
We have to at the end.
I would assume we have to see Majima.
Yeah.
At least.
And what's the massive secret in Onamichi?
I think that Haruto is some type of like, the lost king of something.
Yeah, the heir to the throne.
The heir to some kind of throne, big Yakuza or triad throne or something.
So how could that be, though? It would have to be a main family member as the father.
Or...
Right? You don't think... It's not like Lo impregnated her. Do you think it's even her child?
It probably isn't. What I think probably ended up happening was this is a child that was one of the extra children from China and was being relocated and was given to Haruka.
Yeah, to hide.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That's what I think's going on.
That's why she was completely out of radio communication.
Yeah.
Why she never came home.
That's me, though. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll get there.
Although, on the other hand, had she brought Haruto to the orphanage, it might have been easier to write it off as, oh, this is just a kid we picked up in Okinawa.
Sure. Still raises a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm intrigued.
It's definitely an interesting story so far. There's a lot of twists and turns here, and we don't really know where it's going to go. And I'm totally okay with that. So I'm wanting to see it toward the end.
Yep.
But no emails this week. If you would like to send us an email, it's drew@ztgd.com. You can also tweet to us. I am at DMLFury. Matt is at REMGS. And the podcast itself is at ZTGD Phoenix Down. We're going to... me and you both are going to try to play more than what we normally do for this next session. We're still probably looking at 2 more weeks of this. And then we'll go from there. But I am going to try to play a little bit more than what I normally do for this coming week.
Yeah.
This past week, I just didn't have much time. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Well, we got through 3.
Yeah, we did. Luckily, this last chapter was pretty short, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think we can still make it while, taking our time with it. As best we can. So.
Yeah, sounds good. I definitely need to spend some time in that clan creator.
Yeah, I want to do some of that as well. So we'll see what happens.
Get some justice.
That's right. Get some justice.
Reminds me of just like one of the most ridiculous things when... I don't know if I told you the story ever, but when we were moving up to the Boston area, some of the guys came up a night before, and they were at like a local bar here in Boston, and they met a guy who's a lawyer in Boston, handed out his business card, and the guy's name was Brian Gunning, and his tagline was "Gunning for Justice."
Gunning for Justice.
I'm like, that's a good business card.
That's really good, actually, yeah.
And then I that's come back into my life because I was driving in a new part of the city, and I drive past a building, and I see Brian J. Gunning up on the building. And I had seen that business card for years and never actually knew where in Boston, and then I found him. So, if anyone needs someone to gun for justice, I can point you in his direction.
There you go. But yeah, we got that. And then I know you're doing NaNoWriMo, so we may play into NaNoWriMo a little bit there. But after that, we may just I may do like a intermission show here or there, or work on some review stuff, because I know it's getting into that season. That's kind of what we did last year anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll figure it out. But that's going to be it for us. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, I am Drew.
And I'm Matt.
And we are out of here. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back next week with the continuation of Yakuza 6.